It's so wonderful to see so many faces. I'll be clicking through because we have about 3 pages of faces and it's fantastic. You all may want to use speaker view for quite a bit of it. We will have times where we'll ask you to go to the gallery view because we'll be sharing things. But today we were supposed to be together in person. That didn't work out, but we are so excited to be bringing you Rejuvenate, an online inspirational event. We want this time together to be a celebration of you, the educators, and particularly this year as we had to transition to distance learning, it really, the drop of a hat, this online experience was not your average meeting. So we want to give you a platform where some sharing and learning can come together to rejuvenate yourselves as you head into the summer and also into next year and whatever that might bring for you and your students. I also want to say today that Oklahoma A+ has always believed and lived that our work is for all. Our hearts ache for our Black colleagues, communities, and schools, and we want to make sure you understand we know this is not a political issue. This is a humanity issue. Everyone, we all deserve respect, kindness, love, and justice. We're not perfect here, but we work really hard to be supportive, to serve, and to be the light for that justice. So know that we're happy that everybody is a part and we stand with you and we're excited that you're a part of us and we all work together. As you know, we've postponed our in-person event, Not Your Average Conference, Creativity, to June 8th, 2021. Please get that on your calendars now. You won't want to miss it. We're thrilled that our creative leaders who were scheduled to be with us, Mark Wood, Sherry Sturman, and Wendy Rodrigue, already have it on their calendars and they can't wait to be with us in person next year. But I will note that Wendy Rodrigue and Sherry Sturman are with us today. Wendy waved to us, and Sherry, I think she's in here too. So we're so excited. They're going to be a part of this session with us. Right now, I'd like you, if you got one of these blue packets in the mail, some of you I know were added from the waiting list, so you may not have seen one of these yet. We can certainly talk about getting something to you later, but if you got one of those, please get that out. Some of you are part of A+ Schools Network. Some of you are new to the network, and these packets serve all of us for a couple of reasons. So inside the packet, you had a couple of larger cards. One is a card from one of our board members. We have a great board of advocacy is what they call themselves because they're passionate about A+ for different reasons, and they choose to advocate for our work. So you'll have a story there from one of those members that tells you what A+ means to them and how it's impacted them. And let me tell you, over the past 18 years of our work, we have so many stories. They could come from principals, teachers, students, those of us who have graduated from being teachers all the way up to getting to do what I do now. We do all of this and those stories come together. Even though they touch us in different ways, it brings us together as we try to make for the betterment of education in our state, as we focus on creativity, imagination, and innovation. You also have a card that tells you about the impact of A+ over time. It just gives you a little bit of a few numbers there so you can see how far reaching we are. We want to reach even further. So if you are, again, if you are new and you're interested in exploring membership in A+, please, you can visit our website. You can email us. We'll put that into the chat box where you can email. We have lots of opportunities to learn about being a part of the network. And next, I want you to get out those plus blocks. It's time for these. So again, those who don't have them, maybe you can find something to build with, but those who have them, get those out right now, get that popped open, pour them out. And this card asks you to think about a child that you love. And what do you want for that child in education? So it could be one of your students, it could be your whole class of students, it could be a grandchild, your own child, but somebody that you think about, what do you want to have happen in that classroom? And that's what we always try to focus on, is really our instruction and what we do is really about them. So today we want you to take these, and I'm going to give you 1 minute And I want you today to just play with these a little bit. And I'd like you to make an R for rejuvenate, because to be our best selves for all those kids we love, we need to rejuvenate. So I'm going to start my timer, 1 minute. See if you can make an R out of your plus plus. Everybody go. All right, there is our time. And now, if everybody go to gallery view, if you're still on speaker view, go back to gallery view so you can see lots of creations. You might have to click through a couple of screens, but if you hold them up close, that works really well. I see some capital R's. I see some lowercase r's. I see mirrored R's. I see lots of colors and sizes going on out there. Fantastic work. So that's our beginning. Keep that R close by to remind you that we are rejuvenating today. Thank you for sharing those. And I hope as you looked around that you noticed that there was differences in color, in shape, probably even some technique differences in how we made those little blocks work together. But we all came to the same end, even though our process was probably different. For me, that's what good learning is really about and provides. It gives the opportunity to create and expand the imagination. So even when I asked for one right answer, so to speak, with making an R, we still were able to do it in our own learning ways and get there in the way that was important to us. And for me, those different paths and honoring that in learners is really important. And that's one of my passions about A+, is that recognition of the different way we're all smart and the way we can bring that and focus. So thank you for sharing that today. So I also want to remind you with those plus plus, back to that card, that there are instructions, and want to encourage you to help us promote all of this on social media, what good learning is, what honoring each other is. And this talks about building something that represents what good education is to you, what you really want for those kids you love, and for yourself as a teacher in the classroom. What should education be? And build something, and then use your favorite social media account. A+ is on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We're putting our handle in the chat box. You can find us on any of those. Build that, post your creations, tag us, and also use the hashtag schools that work for everyone, the number 4. And again, we'll put that in the chat box. Let's demonstrate together. Let's show people out there the passion we have as educators, whether we're distance learning or we're in classrooms, whether we're learning for ourselves. We need to remind people how much we love what we do and put into what we do. So let's flood social media with that and show everybody that we love the work we do and those we serve. Finally, in your packet, you have this little card. It is about supporting A+. I want you to know this is not high pressure. I just want to address it with you. If you don't know, Oklahoma A+ Schools Institute is a fully granted and fundraised organization. We find all the funds to do this work that we do for all of you. We have some great partners who provide some good amounts, but we also do seek other donations. So if you feel like, you know, I want to give a little bit, great. If you don't, no problem. You might also want to pass this information on, though, to somebody who needs to know about us, who is passionate about education and the arts, and they really need to know the great work. We're trying to spread our visibility as well, so we appreciate any help you can give us in that. Those who are not a part of A+, I also already talked to you about exploring and becoming more. You may not know that when you are part of the network, everything we do at no cost to those network schools. So that's a pretty good amount, and it's because of our passion, and we're committed to doing that. For those who are not part of A+, everything we do is really at a very low cost as well. So as I wrap up and get ready to hand over to your amazing facilitators for the next session, I do want to let you know that our board that I spoke about, they chose to donate some gift cards, and also one of our regional coordinators was able to secure some tickets to the Western Heritage Museum, a family pack of tickets. The gift cards the board gave are everything from like $50 Amazon cards, Walmart cards, Chick-fil-A cards, Starbucks cards, bookstore cards, lots of, but they said we value these folks and we want them to know that. I think we have about 8 things to give away. You will have 2 ways to be eligible for that giveaway. First, post something, tag us, make it public, let us share it, and that gets you eligible. You'll have a week to do that. So as long as you post by next Tuesday, then we will be moving on to doing our drawings, and we'll let you know if you win something. The second way to be eligible is at the end of the session, you'll have a reflection form. You may have already received that link and QR code, but you'll be reminded of it multiple times. Fill out that reflection, because what you tell us about our work helps us to do it better for you. We take it very seriously and we want to hear from you. And especially our first time in an online format like this, we really like and value that feedback. So that's it for me, I think. Enjoy your day. You've got truly wonderful facilitators, and we want you to feel rejuvenated as you spend time with us and with them today. So right now, I'd like to introduce to you DG Duggar. She'll be your lead facilitator for Rejuvenate today. DG?
I am DG Duggar, and welcome to the 3rd through 5th grade session of Rejuvenate. We have been working on this and taking everything that we have learned or maybe didn't do so well on our long distance and virtual learning. I have been happily affiliated with Oklahoma A+ since 2002. I was in an inaugural school and shortly thereafter became an A+ fellow. So I'm going to go through and introduce your other facilitators with us for the next 75 minutes. Allie?
Hi everyone, I'm Alicia Hobbs. I am one of your A+ fellows. I teach 4th grade. This will be my 20th year teaching, and I've been a fellow for a couple years and in an A+ school for over a decade. So I'm very excited to spend some time with you all today. I hope you have a wonderful experience.
Angela.
My name is Angela Holcomb. I teach 3rd grade in Bartlesville. This is my first year as a fellow, but I have been in an A+ school for over 15 years, and I have over 20 years of teaching experience.
Chelsea.
Hi, my name is Chelsea Love, and I'm a regional coordinator for Oklahoma A+ schools. I taught 1st grade and elementary music for several years, and I also teach at the University of Oklahoma, and I'm super excited to be here with you guys today.
Erin.
Good morning, everybody. I am Erin Yeaman. I'm a professional cellist and storyteller, and I also get the wonderful opportunity to be the GT coordinator at our French and Spanish immersion school in Norman. I've been an A+ fellow with my wonderful colleagues for 3 years, and it just makes my life so bright, and I love being a part of A+.
Heather.
Got it. Okay. Hey everyone, I'm Heather Meldrum, and I am a counselor at Stanley Hutfeld Academy. I have been at Stanley Hutfeld Academy for 13 years, and I'm excited for you guys and excited for you to be here today.
And Jenny.
Hi, Jenny Taylor, Regional Coordinator with Oklahoma A+ Schools. I have a background in academic advising and career counseling, and working with college students from first generation high financial need backgrounds. So I'm excited to be with you all today. Can't wait to see what we do.
Rosalind.
Hi, I'm Rosalind Wade. I get to be the program director for A+, and for 18 years now, you guys have made my life amazing. Thrilled to be with you today.
Tanya.
Hi, I'm Tanya Kilburn. I'm the director for Prairie Dance Theater. I'm an A+ fellow for the past 6 years.
And I'm going to call on Audrey over here. She is the magic that has put us all together today.
I do feel magical. Hi, everyone. My name is Audrey Charlson, and I'm the project specialist at Oklahoma A+ Schools for the last, I've been there for about 5 years. I'm not a teacher, but I play one at home sometimes. So I'm excited about to be here, and I'm the one that you contact if you have needs, questions. I'm the one who emails you all the time. Thanks.
Great. Thank you. Thank you all. Kelsey is going to be monitoring the chat, and there she goes. And we're going to go ahead and move in to a breakout session. We would like for you to go grab an object, something that is close at hand, perhaps maybe even in your area, something that is significant to you, something that rejuvenates you, and it could even be a metaphor for how you are feeling about where we are in education right now. So give you a few seconds. Rosalind, with patience, is going to be dividing us into 6 rooms, and we will actually get to use our voice for a while there. So go get. And I'm going to go ahead and call on Jenny. We were breakout room number 1, and she is our reporter for what she recorded for us today.
Okay, so everyone had a lot of great objects to share, including a new grandbaby who was so sweet and so precious. And we talked about how those objects make you feel, and some of the things that I recorded that I thought were really profound were that everyone felt like we're not made to be alone all the time. We were designed to be with people, that we all find comfort from a lot of different things, and that sometimes really simple things are the things that bring us the most happiness. And so everybody wanted to think about remembering that when you do come back with your students. How are you going to think about those things that maybe students were finding comfort in, those things that they need to feel grounded, and bringing that back into the classroom, and trying to make time together more intentional and more creative in case there are times where everyone's going to be separated again.
Great. Heather posted that Miriam is the breakout for room 2, excuse me, room 6. So Miriam, would you unmute and share from your breakout, please?
Definitely. Well, we had a couple of the participants, like Clarence and Stacy, both spoke about their phone being something that is so simple, yet they feel like it helps them to be connected, and for Stacy to remember that you are still available. You can still be available. And for Clarence, it becomes a lifeline.
True.
And Andreas went through a tragic time in his life, and he's using his motorcycle keys. He got a motorcycle to help him to break away from the common things, and to be able to become creative and become free in his thinking. So these were about the things the one thing we had to choose.
Okay, thank you. Candace, room 2.
Hello, yes. The people that I was with had some wonderful things to share, so I'm just going to kind of go down the list. Angela and I both shared an empty glass, just kind of showing that we were feeling alone and kind of empty, but we definitely wanted to fill it up. We had Sarah, who had coffee in a cup, to symbolize that we just need to keep on going. We know that our days are definitely shifting, and we're helping others whenever we can, but we also need to make sure that we're filling up our cup and that we have enough energy just to get the job done. Robin and Sandy, they also shared a journal, just kind of how we're just to document what they're feeling, how everything's going on right now, and to really to go back and to reflect later on it. Eddie showed her child how she's juggling home and school and trying to keep her sanity. And it was really just to show how we can be flexible and how we can rebuild, and that we all need to be Play-Doh at this time. Very nice objects.
Nice. April, you're group 4. Be sure to.
Hi.
Here you go.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. We had in our group, we had a wand. One of our girls shared like one of those long, it looked like almost like a baton, but it had all those little pieces inside that when you turn it, like they float around. And so it's really neat to like, it's what it looked like from my end. I think that's what it was. And just something that's relaxing to look at when you're maybe stressed or something like that. Marcia shared some chimes that she, I believe, used in her classroom, and that she's ready to use them again back in her classroom. That music, bringing music back to the classroom, and that rejuvenation of music. And Robert shared that just the emphasis, I thought it was really interesting how so many things that we use now run on batteries, and that batteries run out really fast, and then we don't have any more. And when we're stuck in quarantine without batteries for things, it can be kind of stressful. And so he was talking about the importance of fossil fuels and things like that, and clean electric power sometimes is our friend at home when we're stuck in the house and we need to plug something in. So I thought that was really interesting, and I think he had some more to share, but our time got cut off. So everybody had some really neat things to share today, all very rejuvenating, and just I think everybody's just ready to get back into the classroom.
Yes, right. Okay, Erin, you're group 5.
Yeah, we had a great discussion. Sometimes it feels like it's not long enough. I think we started to really get into it and connect with each other a little bit, and I really appreciated that. Our group talked about the importance of breathing and exercise. We had a participant Johnny talked about that she's Native American and how much she's connecting with her culture and traveling again, because she say a lot. So connecting with friends and family. Children, we talked about kids and pictures of friends and best friends from far away. The resilience that Greg talked about plants and connecting with what do those plants need to thrive and survive, and thinking about the atmosphere and the culture that creates growing feel in the classroom. We've also talked about books and how to escape into stories. So we had a great discussion.
Great. Karen, room 3.
Our group, the common themes in our group were our phones and receptacles for beverages. Somebody had their cup for caffeine. We had several water bottles, and how water is rejuvenating, how caffeine helps us keep our pace and keep on going. And then the creative ways that phones play a part in our lives. We talked about some people use different apps. There was an app for music that somebody shared. There's an app for books, a Bible app. I shared that on my phone, instead of using it always to talk to people, because I was really tired as the school counselor of making phone calls and talking to kids and parents all day, I took my phone on long walks and started recording my journey on photographs and using the camera on my phone. So I have all these pictures of nature that I encountered as I was out walking. Somebody else shared being in nature, and basically that's kind of what we talked about, just trying to stay somewhat active, and then finally coming back to the fact that our phones keep us connected to our loved ones, and how important it was to call those in our families that were distant, that we couldn't see in any other way, especially our elders, and how if video chatting wasn't comfortable, at least they could hear our voice. So that was our conversation.
Great, thank you very much. My observations are that it is the simple things that give us joy. We do not have to have complicated things, and I'm going to take that as my takeaway for when I return to the classroom. I need to keep the simple, the arts, the conversations, and I'm going to remember that the classroom, as is A+, is a place for us to share our emotions, that we are a safety net, and we need to be that for our students. So that is my takeaway from hearing from everybody. So thank you for sharing your hearts and your objects with us today. With that being said, we're going to be moving on into our 2 workshops. So this is the time for you to get those supplies, your crayons, your markers, everything that we asked for you to show up with today.
Welcome, guys. Hi there. Welcome to your first lesson session. Hopefully everybody can hear me well. Okay, I'm going to share my screen with you. Today I want to talk with you guys about using visual art with creative writing. So, get my present button here. There we go. All right. We have our, you'll only need your pencil and paper for this one to take notes, and if we have time to do some writing, we will do that as well. The conceptual questions that were stated early on in this conference were, how is change rejuvenating? And we've talked about lots of different ways that we've had to change. How can A+ also help you rejuvenate? What, hopefully you'll get some ideas and some resources that A+ can help you with to be rejuvenating. But for this activity, I want to focus on the question, how can art reproductions rejuvenate your creative writing? So I have chosen a piece today called The Letter, and it's by Mary Cassatt. This piece, I'll give you a little more information on it here in a little bit. I don't want it to influence the questions I'm going to ask you here. So I want you to look at it very closely. Observe this piece. Okay, first thing I want you to do is tell me, what do you see? Go ahead and use the chat, because then I can see it pop up and those kinds of things. Focusing on parts of speech, nouns. You know, what is it that you see? Blue, yes, that would actually be an adjective in there too. Things that you would see that maybe your kids would point out that they would see as well. Utilize that chat if you want to actually speak out. We have about 40 people, 30 to 40 people in here, so it's a little hard to raise hands, so the chat will be very beneficial. Patterns, okay, good. You see a person, we do have a subject. She's dressed nicely, okay. Wallpaper, yeah, that wallpaper jumps out at me too. A desk, okay. All right, rectangle, okay, shapes in it. Seeing upper class, very good. Maybe she's sad, okay. Well, that actually leads me into my next question, which is, how does this make you feel? How does it make you feel, maybe in relation to distance learning or anything else going on in the world right now? And if you don't have a connection to this picture, then how do you think this subject is feeling? Feel curious about her, okay. Lonely. Missing someone, okay. Communication being critical. I love that. Communication being crucial. We've got to find ways to communicate during this time. Looks a little depressed, okay. Awesome. All right. My next question for you then is, what could that letter be about that she is writing? Some of you said she looked depressed or worried, things like that. What could she be writing about that would make her feel that way? I'm sorry, Miriam, is anyone else having problems hearing me? Okay, missing someone. Okay, someone's sick, right? Okay, very nice on that. Okay. For a little background on this piece, Mary Cassatt was an American artist who lived from 1844 to 1926. Although most of her adult life she lived in France. She often depicted the private lives of women and children in her paintings. This piece isn't actually a painting, a brush painting anyway. It is created in the Japanese woodblock print style. This piece is displayed in the Arts Institute in Chicago. So an extension of this writing activity could be that you work with your students with printmaking. I found that lots of people notice the wallpaper to the back. Since this is done in block print, having to have the negative space of the wood block taken out and the positive space to stand out, she would have done a lot of work to do the carving of all that pattern in there. Very impressive. Okay. Thank you, Erin. Yes, great virtual tours of museums all over the world to be able to utilize. Okay. You can use any piece of art as a story starter. This one just kind of lends itself really well to writing since the subject is writing a letter. In my class, I use this piece and I have students write the letter that this lady might be writing. They have to use point of view, the perspective of this lady. They have to decide on a beginning, middle, and end to whatever their letter is, as well as just the idea of the structure of a letter. So lots of ways to use just this piece in your classroom. So this piece actually has a literary connection. This last year, the Oklahoma Sequoia Book nominee, The Art of the Swap, was one of the books. It's a historical fiction book that uses Mary Cassatt as a character in the book. Now, the initial theme to the story is time travel and a mystery, but the underlying theme is women's suffrage. This harkens back to Mary Cassatt's real-life depictions of the plight of women and children in this time period. It was an amazing book. Yes, Erin. My students loved it. This was the first one we actually read aloud in class. So thinking back to that focus question that we had in the beginning, how can art reproductions rejuvenate your creative writing? What kinds of ideas could you have? How could you adapt this or use this activity in your classroom? Okay. We have Principal Bathiana. This could be used for any grade.
Okay.
Go ahead. Who is that? I heard someone kind of jump in there. It could be used as a starter for journaling. I agree. It could be used for, this is structured around 3rd, 4th, and 5th for writing, but it could even be used for younger children as they learn to write things that they observe and are able to pull those observations into writing. But it is designed for 3rd through 5th. Definitely could use it in a discussion for emotions. Yes, inference. They have to infer what that subject was writing about. So I completely agree with you there. Jumping off point for the writing, starters, okay. I love it. So this goes into my next question where Miriam says, thought-provoking, many times kids say they don't know what to write about. So I've got those reluctant writers too. How do you feel this activity can encourage those students' writing. It gives them that starter, but what else can it do for them? Give them a good focus. I like that. Thank you, Sarah. Writing a letter is easier than just saying essay. My third graders sometimes don't even know what that vocabulary word is. What's an essay? So yes, giving them something they're familiar with before jumping into the other. And that's part of why thank you about listing adjectives and nouns and things like that. That's part of why I asked you to look at the piece and tell us what you just saw, because that's one of the easiest things for kids to pull out first is their observations. Then use those words to create their sentences. Absolutely. All right. Okay, so I want you to have this last thought. We might have a little time to do some writing, but I want you to think about choosing any piece of art. It doesn't have to be this Mary Cassatt piece. It could be a similar piece like the letter from Franz von Defregger. It could be an abstract piece like Le Comte d'Eu by Ellsworth Kelly. This one was actually inspired by a staircase. It could even be The Fullback by a talented football player and American artist named Ernie Barnes. This artist actually also has a Sequoia Book nomination, a literary connection. This past year, Sandra Neal Wallace wrote a biography on Ernie Barnes that was a beautifully done picture book. Whatever your choice is, choose something that you can be passionate about so that you can inspire that passion and rejuvenation in your students. So I've put all 4 pieces up here to give you just a couple of minutes to think about which one inspires you, which one rejuvenates you, and give you the opportunity to maybe have a few minutes to do some writing. Oh, I like that idea, Carolyn, of since 3rd grade is about Oklahoma history and geography, I use artwork that features our past as a state. Very nice. Pulling in social studies with the artwork. Okay, hopefully this has given you some really good ideas on how you can use visual art to inspire your kids and rejuvenate your creative writing in your classroom. I do want to thank you very much for joining us as a group today, but also coming into this small group and participating with me. If you have any questions or any aha moments that you haven't shared yet, feel free to share those in the chat, and that way we can get maybe some of those answered or use some of those ahas to benefit all of our rejuvenation. I'm going to leave you with the standards that this actually covers, the writing and the reading standards that this activity would cover. We did have some ideas of pulling in social studies and things like that, so it could absolutely be adapted to those things, but this specific one follows and covers these standards. A lot of possible writing connections with the stairs, with that abstract piece. What was interesting is on that background for that piece, he actually saw a staircase when he was visiting some friends in France, and he sketched different parts of the staircase at different times during the day and watched the shadows of it. And that piece I showed you was actually a cut up piece. He took the stairs and then cut them into different parts and then rearrange them. So a lot like, you know, some of us feel rearranged now during this time. I thought that was a really neat piece. He is also an American artist as well.
I could see that the picture with the football player,
yes,
as like a symbolism for, you know, you're racing to the finish line for what's happening right now with racial equality, and, you know, you feel like you're being attacked and people are coming at you and trying to hold you back, but you're trying to, you know, fight that and keep pushing and pushing because to get to that finish line where you have true equality for everyone.
I love that. Yes, that's one of the reasons that I pulled that piece in, is after reading the biography on him, he had a lot of adversity in his life with poverty, with just he wanted to be an artist, but there wasn't any money in it, basically, and so he had to find other avenues to feed himself, feed his family, work, but yet still inspire himself to do the artwork. So pulling that in along with his biography it would be a really good idea. Thank you for sharing.
All right, welcome everybody. I'm glad to be here with you. My name is Alicia Hobbs, and I will be presenting emotion art with you today. So going back to our overarching concept for today of Rejuvenate, just a reminder of our conceptual questions. How is change rejuvenating? And how can A+ help you rejuvenate? The focus question for this workshop today that I really want you to focus on is, how can purposeful scribbles rejuvenate you? You were asked to have a piece of paper, something to write with, something to color with. If you will just take that blank piece of paper, I want you to start with a scribble. And I want you just to make one continuous scribble across your page, and then just set it aside, and we will come back to it in a few minutes. I'll give you about 30 seconds to scribble. All right, put your finishing touches on. We're going to utilize the chat box in the next couple of activities that we do, because I do want to hear from everybody. I want you to look at this painting by Kandinsky that is composition 7. And the first thing I want you to think about is, what do you see in this painting? And if you will just type in the chat box what you see. Chaos. That one came up a lot in the last session too. Lots of bright colors, stress. Thank you for sharing that. Mixed color, music, whimsy, overwhelming, primary colors, sections. Without the bright colors, I would say confusion. An eye in the middle, heart, busy, shapes, another stress in there. A dark focal point, hidden objects. I see something different every time I look at this. Musical instruments. Thank you all so much for sharing. Now I want you, as you're looking at this, I want you to think about how this painting makes you feel and maybe why. And if you would just type that in the chat box. I just saw a mob. So how does this make you feel? Confused, uneasy, scattered. I like it, an explosion of colors. Stressed, scared, breaking. Stress and chaos can lead to something beautiful, unfocused. Reminds me of a book I read about blues music. It's fun for me. Energized because of the colors. Stressful. Depends on the section I'm looking at. One could be anger, one could be calm. Thank you so much. out of control, lost, hidden messages. Thank you all so much for sharing. This is the next piece I want you all to look at. This is called Flavor of Music by Ivy. And again, I want you to start by thinking about or chatting in the box, what do you see in this painting? Treble clef, music, colorful music, lyrical movement. Oh my gosh, that's gorgeous. I love it. Guitar, violin, lyrics, curves. What do you see? Musical, layers, loud and soft, bright colors. Thank you so much. On this one, if you will now chat in, how does this painting make you feel and why? How does this one make you feel and why? Uplifting because of the yellow, relaxed, joyful, calm, peaceful, bouncy because of the bright colors, makes me smile, and musical before I even saw the title of the piece, feeling less scared, excited, more tranquil. It has softness to the background, calm and fluid, hopeful, there's a path, calm and interesting, harmonious, the curves are dancing. Thank you all very much for sharing. Centered. All right, so we have looked at two very different paintings now. And I want you to think, now that we have looked at these two, which of these best represents how you feel about distance learning? Or it may be the unrest that is happening in the world today. Just type in, there we go, I see you already. 1 for Kandinsky's and 2 for Ivy's. A lot of ones coming up. A lot of ones coming up. All right, it seems to be definitely 1. 1 for the first one. There's some 2s. Okay. Both 1 and 2. Thank you. All right, I so appreciate you all being actively involved. When I was creating this workshop, this is a book that I used to help kind of lead me through the process, and it's called The Color Monster, and it's a story about emotions. And because of time, I'm not going to have time to read it to you, but I do suggest picking it up, reading it. It is wonderful. But there is a quote that I definitely want to share with you. This is my favorite quote from the entire book. It says, "Your emotions don't work well when they're all jumbled up." And that just kind of spoke to me during this time of everything happening. Love this book. Thank you, Sarah. All right, we're going to think about our feelings today. So I want you to think about how you're feeling. It could be how you're feeling right now. It could be how you were feeling at the end of the school year, how it ended, going back into school next year, not knowing what's happening through distance learning, or it could be because of the civil unrest that is happening in the world today. But just think about your emotions and how you are feeling right now. And if you wouldn't mind just chatting 1 or 2 words of how you feel in that chat box. Hopeful, determined. We will persevere. Unsure, tired, excited, hopeful for change. Positive, exhausted. Thank you all so much. A lot of different emotions happening. Overwhelmed, uncertain, positive change, ready to change. Thank you all. Can't see the future. Absolutely. All right, we're going to take these emotions, and I want you now to pick your scribble back up that you had before that I asked you to put aside. And I'm going to give you a few minutes, and you're going to use your scribble, and you're going to turn it into a character, a creature, a monster, or you can just completely leave it abstract if you want to. But the key is, I want you to let your feelings inspire your creation. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes, add detail, add color if you want to, but do work for the entire several minutes that I give you. And I'll give you a 30-second warning when I'm about ready to bring you back together. In about a couple minutes, be creative. All right, thank you all very much. If we were in person, we would share, gallery walk around, because we do want to share what we've created. But because we are here, we are going to attempt a virtual gallery walk. I am going to stop sharing my screen, and if you would take it from speaker mode to gallery mode at this time so we could see several people. What I'm going to ask you to do is, if you will take your creation and just hold it up in your screen and kind of peek over it, we're just going to kind of look at everyone's. We're going to do it in two groups. So if your first initial is between A and L in the alphabet, will you go ahead and hold yours up? I see people thinking where my initial is. Thank you all so much for sharing. In A+ style, we are going to process out of this. So we're going to go back to our focus questions, and we're going to use that chat box again. The focus question for this workshop was, how can purposeful scribbles rejuvenate you? So if you wouldn't mind going over to the chat box and just answering that question for us. Allows the mind to be creative, gets feelings on paper without using words, stress-free. Thank you. I'm glad this has been stress-free. Art into meaning, express yourself, felt like a release, freeing and relaxing, gives an outlet without words. And think about our kids when they come back. Maybe they don't have the words to share what's going on. Thank you. Being aware of what I am truly feeling. Thank you so much for being vulnerable and sharing. No stress. Brings focus back in the mind. Refocusing your mind. Thank you all very much. All right, this is the next question I want you all to focus on. How and when would you use or adapt this activity in your class, whether it be virtually or traditionally? And just, I see conversation starters. Great for Monday meetings. During your emotion classes, transition times, as an introduction or brain break, a reflection time. During your life skill class. Do you see any content? Because I know schools are really focused on core content. Can this be adapted or be used to any core content that you teach throughout the year? Kids not knowing how to express themselves, this will help them. Could work virtually. Showing how a book makes you feel. Used in writing, writing to learn. It could be the beginning of an intense activity, growth mindset, descriptive words and writing. Very good. Some of the ones from the other workshops, someone said math, someone said science with animals and habitat, writing about characters, creating characters, and then writing a story about them. A lot of connection. So thank you all very much. And I see that we are having everyone come back together. So thank you all very much for your time. And I am going to turn this back over to DG at this time.
All right, I am watching the numbers to see we are getting very close for everyone being back from the breakout room. With A+ in mind, and especially with Mark mentioning some yoga in his little talk this morning, we are moving in to Tanya. Tanya is a dance fellow. And we do not want to be remiss in including movement, and I would love to throw some theater in. So Tanya is going to take us through some mindful moments that we need for ourselves and for our students too. So Tanya.
Hi, welcome to Mindfulness Moments. You'll just make sure you're seated in a comfortable chair, on the floor, sofa, wherever you might be sitting in an upright position. And feel free to turn your video off during this activity if that'll make you more comfortable. So let's just bring awareness to our breathing. Inhale and lift your shoulders up. Exhale and lower. Inhale and lift. Exhale and lower. Now let's roll our shoulders to the back. And then back to the front. Now take an inhale. With the exhale, round your spine. Make a C shape with your spine. Now inhale and arch your spine and expand. And exhale and curve. Inhale and arch. And coming back to an upright position, place one hand over your heart. And reach the other hand towards the floor. Now take your gaze downward, finding a spot on the floor, or you may close your eyes. And just notice your breath. Notice your heartbeat. Feel your fingertips reaching to the floor, connecting you to the moment. And feel your hand over your heart supporting you. Either out loud or to yourself, say, I am here. Now, float your eyes open and lift your gaze. And begin rubbing your hands together as fast as you can to feel the heat generating between your hands. Now, open your hands just a tiny bit apart and see if you can feel that energy still vibrating. And again, rub your hands together. And this time, we're going to make a ball. And I still feel that energy between my hands. Now, with an inhale, and follow your own timing of your own breath, inhale and the ball gets bigger. Exhale and the ball gets smaller. Inhale and the ball gets bigger. And exhale and the ball gets smaller. Now, on this next inhale, you're going to reach your arms up to the sky, lifting your heart up. And then come back forward and curve your spine and give yourself a big hug. And open, making a big X, and then come back and give yourself a big hug. Now slowly roll up through your spine to an upright position. Touch your thumb to your first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger. 1, 2, 3, 4. Repeat after me. I am so calm. You go. I am so calm. I go. I can do this. You go. I can do this. Now bring both of your hands to your heart and imagine you can take a deep breath into your heart space. On your own timing, inhale and exhale. Now coming back to a comfortable upright position, resting your hands. I invite you to respond to these processing questions in chat. The first question is, during the time in quarantine, during your time in quarantine, what have you learned about the importance of self-care? Go ahead and respond in chat if you feel like it. What have you learned about the importance of self-care during this time? There's time to walk outside every day. I need to do more. Yes. If you don't take care of yourself, you cannot take care of anyone else. Very good. Very good. I learned that it allows your body to a chance to recharge. I like that. Yes. You can't pour from an empty cup. Very good. And think about this question. How do you plan to incorporate self-care into your teaching practice in the future? How do you plan to incorporate self-care into your teaching practice? Focus on emotionally sustainable practices. Not to bring work home. It's important for the kiddos to know that you also practice self-care. That's very great. That's very good. Yes. Trying not to overplan. Teach the kids to take mental breaks and teach them self-care. That's very nice. Very good. And I hope that everyone does take this into the future. And since we're getting very close to the time to wrap up, I just want to thank you for joining me in this mindfulness moment and wish you all well and rejuvenate often. And we're going to go back to Gigi now. Thank you for your comments.
Thank you, Tanya. That was very enjoyable. This is not an ending. I'm going to call this an intermission until we reconvene once again. Our conversations do not stop at 12:30 when the Zoom meeting disappears. A+ is here, the fellows are here, the network is here. Utilize this network, utilize what we have learned, and remember all the experiential learning that took place during our Zoom and Google Meets. That was what our students loved. Keep the experiential going. Chelsea is also listing the reflection form if you would like to go ahead and answer the reflection to win those gift cards. And please, practice self-care. Remember when we are physically with our students again, that we are their caretakers, that we need to take care of ourselves and them. And I'm going to jump out on a limb and say our society. There is so much that is going on and so much we do not know about that has happened to our students and even our participants here that brought the happy face to our meeting today. On behalf of my team at Oklahoma A+, I want to say thank you for participating with us. As I said earlier, we had a great time putting this together. And please email us. You can use oklahomaAplus.org to contact any of us. And enjoy the rest of summer. Yay!